The transfer window has barely opened, and yet it's already being defined by one theme: Saudi Arabia. The Saudi Pro League has unleashed its deep wealth to attract some of the biggest names in football. First Cristiano Ronaldo and then Karim Benzema, who accepted a monstrous contract worth a reported €100 million a season to walk away from Real Madrid. N'Golo Kante is expected to follow suit, and many other stars are being targeted. That includes Ruben Neves, once on the cusp of a dream move to Barcelona, now close to a €55 million switch to Al-Hilal. In his prime at 26, landing the Portuguese international would be another huge display of ambition by the Pro League. What's intriguing though is that Saudi football hasn't emerged from nowhere. The likes of Odion Ighalo, Vincent, Aboubacar and Gustavo have all played there in recent years. And in 2021, the Brazilian playmaker Matheus Pereira forced through a move from West Brom to Riyad after he received an offer that would change his life and his family's life forever. Still, the current levels of spending witnessed by the Saudis is unprecedented, fresh off a period where the kingdom has continued to grow its influence in global sport. So the question is, why now? What has inspired Saudi Arabia to suddenly ramp up its investment in football? And more intriguingly, could this really pose a threat to the European game? Let's find out in our latest Football Daily Explained. Saudi Arabia and its de facto leader, the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, have big plans. As a nation, its wealth has been rooted in oil, but with petroleum a finite resource and the world moving slowly towards green energy, Saudi Arabia has decided to diversify its economy. In 2016, MBS laid out a new direction for the kingdom, labelled Vision 2030. As part of the $1 trillion plan, Saudi Arabia will develop public service sectors including health, recreation and tourism, and become a global investment powerhouse. It would also serve to regenerate Saudi Arabia's tattered image on the world stage after years of scrutiny and sanctions. Sport is part of that strategy. Saudi Arabia has been busy making itself a hub for big sporting events, including boxing, WWE, horse racing and Formula 1, while using the incredibly deep pockets of its state-controlled public investment fund worth over €600 billion to buy stakes in major sporting institutions. Just take golf, which the PIF has turned on its head. The founding of the lucrative LIV Tour proved so disruptive, the previously dominant PGA Tour has relented and agreed to a merger, with PIF's governor Yasir Al-Rumayyan at the helm. Football has been heavily targeted too. For example, since 2018, the Italian Super Cup has been hosted in the kingdom, followed by the Spanish Super Cup a year later. And in 2017, Manchester United announced a strategic partnership with Saudi Arabia's General Sports Authority, which will see the 20-time English League champions help the GSA develop its football industry as part of its 2030 vision. But over the last 2 years, two major events have set the stage for the events we're witnessing this summer. First, in October 2021, a group headed up by the PIF completed the purchase of Newcastle United, entering Saudi Arabia into the game of state-run clubs. Then in January this year, Cristiano Ronaldo accepted a sensational offer from Al Nassr in Riyadh worth up to €200 million a year. The deal comfortably made the 37-year-old the highest earner in football once more, showing the world what to expect in the SPL. But perhaps the most intriguing part of PIF's strategy is their recent majority purchase of 4 major Saudi Pro League clubs, including Al-Ahly, Al-Hilal, Benzema's side Al-Ittihad and Al Nassr. It leaves almost a quarter of the division under single ownership, with access to immense financial resources. The Saudi Arabian press agency reported that the move to privatisation will accelerate progress in a variety of sports across the kingdom, in line with Vision 2030, while PIF have said the change will unleash various commercial opportunities for the SPL. Cristiano Ronaldo is evidence of that strategy in motion. The arrival of the Portuguese megastar has attracted several overseas broadcasters to the SPL. It means the division is expecting to generate $480 million a year in revenue by 2030, up from $120 million, while the league's overall value is expected to almost triple to $2.14 billion in that time too. In the words of Pat Janssen, the former CEO of the Riyadh-based Al-Shabaab, if you measure it by commercial rights, these players make a big difference. They put bums on seats, sell merchandise, attract media attention, which sells media rights, which attracts sponsorship. As dictated within Vision 2030, the SPL is set for huge expansion. But the kingdom has other immediate short-term ambitions in football. In 2027, Saudi Arabia will host the Asian Cup, a responsibility they are preparing for with the construction or renovation of 7 stadiums. Yet this looks like a stepping stone towards an even greater goal, the 2030 World Cup. The Kingdom has launched a joint bid for the 48-team competition along with Egypt and Greece. They face rival joint bids from Spain, Portugal, Morocco, plus a South American contingent. Awarding Saudi Arabia the World Cup so soon after the controversy of Qatar is a risky move by FIFA. However, its president Gianni Infantino has made no secret of his or FIFA's growing ties to the nation. Infantino and MBS have sat next to each other at several football matches and even attended Anthony Joshua's loss to Alexander Usyk in Jeddah together in 2022. It was one of a number of trips by the Italian to meet Saudi officials. While many of Infantino's ambitions for the game have received verbal or financial Saudi backing, such as an expanded Club World Cup and an African Super League. If Saudi Arabia is awarded World Cup hosting rights when voting takes place in 2024, then Infantino's relationship with the Kingdom will no doubt attract scrutiny. Until then, Saudi Arabia is presenting itself as a major football power to be taken seriously. However, the issue of sports washing simply cannot be ignored. By international standards, Saudi Arabia has a dreadful human rights record, particularly towards the LGBTQ+ community and women. Capital punishment has meant almost 130 executions have taken place every year in the Kingdom on average since 2015, while the 2018 murder of Washington Post journalist Kamal Khashoggi in Istanbul saw Saudi Arabia internationally condemned after a CIA report concluded that MBS had sanctioned his assassination. Amnesty International blasted FIFA for discarding its own human rights policy when it awarded the 2023 Club World Cup to Saudi Arabia, while often accusing the Kingdom of sports washing. But when questioned, ministers from Saudi Arabia have continuously dismissed that perspective, choosing to link investment to the sport to Vision 2030. So, could Saudi Arabia really threaten the European game? Cristiano Ronaldo certainly thinks so, declaring that the SPL could become one of the top 5 divisions in the world. Buying superstars will certainly help, but others have followed this path before and failed, such as the Chinese Super League. UEFA President Alexander Ceferin has taken a dim view of the Saudi spending, telling the Dutch broadcaster NOS they should invest in academies, they should bring coaches, they should develop their own players. The system of buying players at the end of their careers is not the system that develops football. Ceferin is clearly not concerned about the rise of Saudi Arabia, but as a footballing nation, its track record does deserve more respect. The Kingdom has a significant population of roughly 34 million people, and football is the most popular sport, with 80% of the nation said to be playing or watching the game. This has translated into moderate success for the Kingdom's club sides. With 6 titles, they're the 3rd most successful nation in the Asian Champions League behind Japan and South Korea, while Al-Hilal have actually won the tournament more than any other side. 4 of the 5 previous finals have featured a Saudi contender, and in 2022, Al-Hilal reached the final of the Club World Cup, where they lost to Real Madrid. The national team has always been a constant, if underwhelming, presence too. The Green Falcons have won 3 Asian Cups and qualified for the World Cup 6 times, including the last 2 editions. In 1994, they progressed out of a group featuring the Netherlands, Belgium and Morocco. However, arguably their greatest moments came in victory over Argentina in Qatar. The Kingdom also boasts numerous impressive stadiums, including the 62,000-seater King Abdullah Sports City, and contrary to Ceferin's analysis, they are developing academies and welcoming foreign investment. Just take the French Football Federation, who have opened 4 academies across the country. So, Saudi football is accelerating into a new era, but Ronaldo's prophecy of it becoming a top 5 league anytime soon does feel a little far-fetched. Instead, the divisions that really should be worried are the outliers that still aim to draw in superstars late in their careers, such as the Turkish Super League, MLS, J-League or Greek Super League. Galatasaray's Vice President Odion Ighalo recently made some very telling comments when discussing the possibility of re-signing Mauro Icardi next season. "It won't be very easy," he said. "There are important teams that don't have strikers, and the reality of Saudi Arabia." Icardi has just enjoyed one of his best seasons to date with Galatasaray, scoring 23 times and winning the Super League. They want him to stay in Istanbul, but as Timur alluded to, the reality is that even a club of Gala's prestige and power will not be able to compete financially with Saudi Arabia, which may become the first choice of players looking to maximise their earnings. So, although we think Europe's top divisions are safe for now, they should be on guard. As the Gulf community discovered, Saudi Arabia means business. And with the full force of the Public Investment Fund behind it, the SPL could be a disruptive presence in football for many years to come. So that was our look at how Saudi Arabia plans to take over football, but what do you make of the explained? Let us know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please smash the like button and subscribe to Football Daily if you haven't done so already to never miss any of our amazing content. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.